Good morning. Okay, we're now ready for the second part of our meeting. Ted and Kim and Sarah, our featured speaker, is ready. We're live streamed up on my Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, so you can watch it later because we know how important this thing called CPR is. And we get a chance to have a bigger educational moment from Ira Rothman. So take it away, Ira Rothman.
Speech. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I am Ira Rothman. I'm Ira, the CPR guy. Before we get into a little bit of show and tell here, I'd like to give you a little background on myself. I've been in the CPR business for about 20 years now. It started, I got a phone call from my brother-in-law down here, a friend of a friend of a friend is in this great business. I spoke to the guy, and all of a sudden I'm selling defibrillators, AEDs. I sold my first one in 2 weeks. Hey, this is a piece of cake. They sell themselves. 6 months later, I'm still looking for my second sale. I figured now that I'm selling them, I should know how to work them. I took a course in CPR in the lowest level. I enjoyed it. I took a course in the next level, basic life support for nurses. All of a sudden, I decided I'm an instructor. I came down here of 2016 to take care of my mother. She was 93 at the time. And with that, I bought the only thing I knew I can do that way was my CPR. I brought my CPR down, and while I was taking care of my mother, I was working around her needs. And I started to tell everybody about the wonderful things that CPR can do. Now I'm here, and I'm going to teach you CPR training. You can be the difference between life and death. It's very simple. We have insurance guys here that talk about our health, and when we're dead, everybody gets our money. We have all these financial people that'll help you build wealth so that when you're 70 years old, you will have $1 million. What good is it if you have a heart attack and you drop dead? I'm being frank with you. That's what happens. When you have sudden cardiac arrest within 5 to 7 minutes, 2 minutes, you're gone. We'll go through a little bit of how you can protect yourself, how you can protect a loved one. Sudden cardiac arrest affects everybody at any time, okay? So we're going to go through a little brief. If you have any questions, I don't really give a crap. Keep it to yourself. I'm here to present. I'm not here to answer questions, okay? Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Ira. Clear.
We got to go back. There you go. Okay. So as we can see, the best I can do, you can be the difference between life and death. There you go. Here's our facts. I started to talk about a little bit before. 350,000 people a year suffer from sudden cardiac arrest. That's let alone people that die from heart attacks. This is a separate category. Sudden. We're here chatting. I hit the ground, 2 minutes of the day. That's sudden. Somebody has a little condition, they drop dead, it's a heart attack. We're going to talk about that. 80% of those 350,000 people are in the home. I work with all kinds of home care people. I work with money managers. I work with anybody that wants to be worked with. Chances are it would not happen on the job. If I'm training medical people, it'll be in your home. The survival rate when I made this was 10 to 12%. Now it's up to about 12 to 14%. Successful resuscitation will increase 7 to 10. We already know that we're going to bring that up if you do resuscitation. We can bring that up almost to that 14% just by knowing CPR. Brain function is affected in 5 to 7 minutes after sudden cardiac arrest. That means if you don't know CPR and you call an ambulance, chances are that person that you love that's lying on the ground that you thought had a mental deficiency, at this point after 5 to 7 minutes, they probably will. You don't have to think if they had it or not. By the time the ambulance comes, like we said, the average response time is 7 to 12 minutes. 911, oh my God, my lady, whatever, my boyfriend, my husband, the guy I shot is dying. I can't do CPR. Get over here. Chances are he's already got brain function loss. Okay? So we really want to learn what we can do so we don't suffer this. Talk about sudden cardiac arrest versus heart attack. heart attack is a plumbing problem. Sudden cardiac arrest is an electrical problem. A heart attack, it's plumbing, it's heart disease. Heart disease symptoms in a man. We will have nausea, we'll sweat, we'll feel some compression on the chest, we'll have a little trouble breathing. We might have shoulder pain in the neck, most commonly in the left arm. If you are hanging around, you'll have a sense of anxiety. If you're hanging around and you start to sweat for no reason, if your arm hurts, right, don't think it all of a sudden the air conditioning stopped and you picked something up. If you're sweating profusely, gentlemen, right, you're having a little trouble breathing, make that call. We suggest you take a full-strength aspirin. Aspirin thins the blood, and the aspirin now will help the blood flow a little bit more. Now, we also have a tendency to deny nothing's happened. I have a friend, man, this guy had a heart attack for 3 weeks. He had no idea. Big guy, he was an insurance salesman, okay? He never worked a day in his life. When I say that, I was a construction guy. I dug holes, I schlepped pipe. I know what it is to come home where you can't move. Insurance guys, they have different pressures, different physical jobs. This guy would eat breakfast, he's sweating. He'd walk out to the car, he'd sit down, went to his office sweating. 3 weeks, his arm hurt. Oh man, you know what? I must have moved something wrong. Went home, again, ate dinner, couldn't finish without stopping to catch his breath. Okay? Well, 3 weeks this was going on until 3 o'clock one morning. Sweetheart, wake up. I'm going to die. Well, what do you mean you're going to die? Oh man, my chest is killing me. Well, they took him to the hospital. He had the, quote, widowmaker. Everybody know what a widowmaker is?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, he had, quote, the widowmaker. They saved him. Thank God they got him there in time. Okay? He's down here now. He's in Delray. His son's somewhere in Parkland. They live a nice life. Okay? He could have helped himself a little sooner. Another example. I survived 3 heart attacks. Every single one of my heart attacks was the widowmaker. My wife was hoping that it was going to be. Okay? But turned out I was on a golf course. I was on the 5th hole of a par 3, and I'm hitting the ball all day. Every time I hit the fairway, I'm walking, I get this pain. I'm sweating. I sit down, everything goes away. We played 4 holes like that. Finally, on the 5th hole, I walked down a gully. I couldn't get up the gully without resting halfway up. I go up to the green, and I tell everybody I'm having a heart attack. My son says, yeah, because I'm beating you. I said, well, probably I would be faking it. But of course, men are kind of morons, ladies. So what did I do? I said, come on. We walked to the car. We changed our shoes. I went home, and I packed an overnight bag, and I said to my wife, let's go to a real heart hospital. You're supposed to be calm. You're supposed to be relaxed. My wife gave me her opinion of how dumb I was because I didn't call the ambulance there. So I said that, you're supposed to keep me calm. She said, well, I don't know if I like you now. Well, you know what? Turned out 30 years later, she didn't like me anymore. She was hoping she wouldn't have to worry about it, but I fooled her. I lived. Okay? So that was on a Sunday night, Memorial Day weekend. I got 2 stents put in. I had 2 other arteries rotor-rooted, so to speak. And on Tuesday morning at 3 in the afternoon, I was going to go in for my other 2 stents. 9 o'clock in the morning, I had a heart attack again. They rushed me right in. I got my stents. Everything was good until I got my gastric bypass surgery. Okay, you couldn't get your arms around me. Any 2 of you couldn't get your arms around me. No, we went, had the surgery Tuesday morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday. Yeah, I'm in bed. It's coming back. I called the nurse. I said, I'm having a heart attack. She says, you're having displaced pain. I said, displace this. I said, I'm going to give you 2 options. The first option is you can tell everybody that I have displaced pain, which is what she told me. And in a couple hours, when I'm dead, you'll explain how the guy in 302 died. Or humor me, call the doctor. And I'll live, and you'll be a hero. She humored me. Doctor looked at me. I'll be right back. 5 minutes later, he came back with 2 nitro pills. I was on back to the same hospital. Okay? You never know where. You never know when. But it's very important to know your body. Women are a little bit different, ladies. You're going to have the shortness of breath. Absolutely. You're not going to sweat because women don't sweat. Women perspire. Women glisten profusely. Okay? So, if you have back pain, more than the normal back pain we get every day, okay, and then you also have shortness of breath, you might have a little compression, right? You'll be queasy. Same exact symptoms, except you're not going to get pain in the shoulder. You're going to trade pain in the shoulder, back pain. I'm done.
You got 30 seconds to wrap up. Are you halfway through?
No.
I'm enjoying the show.
Anyway,
I wish we had all the time in the world.
But this is
I yield
very
my time.
important stuff. Anyway, so if you have back pain and you have all the symptoms in your chest, like a man, check your ankles. If your ankles are swollen more than normal, you're having a heart attack. Eat an aspirin. Okay? So the signs are a little different in a men and a woman. Oh, thank you. Sudden cardiac arrest, we already talked about it. I'm going to go this really quick. Like Fred will tell you, I'm coming, Martha, I'm coming. It's the big one. You don't even have the opportunity for that. We're talking, next thing you know, you're dead. Thank you. Things we talk about. Excuse me? Elizabeth, right, Elizabeth. That's right. I'm coming, Elizabeth. I do this, and the young people have no clue what I'm doing.
It's okay. Obama called her Wheezy instead of Elizabeth.
There you go, right? Anyway, Wheezy, that was on the other show. Anyway, the first thing we're going to talk about when we see somebody in cardiac arrest is we're going to call 911, get the EMEs, get the police. We're going to push right in the middle of the chest, right here, just above this little bone that can break, hard and fast in the middle of the chest. If an AED is available, we're going to turn it on and listen to what it says. Thank you. Things, 3 components of CPR: chest compressions, airway, and breathing. We're going to do chest compressions, okay? Again, right here. We're going to push hard and fast. We're going to put the head back, open the mouth, pinch the nose, right? And we're going to do some open the airway to breathe, and then we're going to give 2 breaths about a second apiece. Thank you. Chest compressions, the victim will be on the floor. Push hard and fast, go at least 2 inches deep, listen for the crack of the rib. We're going to do our compressions at 100 to 120 compressions per minute. You guys know this song, Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Well, everybody says we should use that song. That's wonderful, but he's dead. The only one staying alive, God willing, is me. I use a different song that gives me the same beat. We're all familiar with it. It's a song from the 80s, 90s. It's by Queen. Another one bites the dust. Okay, so I go, another one bites the dust not, another one down, another one down, another one bites the dust not. This way, he's gone. I'm just not accepting it, and I'm going to bring him back. Okay, so we do that. We let the chest come up all the way up. What the chest compressions do is they're going to circulate the blood. They're going to feed the brain. So the morons that are now trying to grip to life, well, maybe they won't be so bad if you do your compressions and circulate the blood. We're going to do 30 compressions, and then we're going to do 2 breaths, and we're just going to continue that until an AED comes. Okay, airway, head tilt, chin left, like this, pinch the nose, we give a breath. We go all the way back to open. We're going to do our breathing. We will pinch the nose, everything goes back. If you have a face shield, we cover the face shield. If you don't have a face shield, if you don't like the guy, if you don't want to go near that particular person, compressions only will do the job. It's not the best thing. It's better than nothing, and anything better than nothing will work, okay? So do your chest compressions, you do your breathing, 2 breaths, about a second apiece. Talk about AEDs. An AED is an automated external defibrillator. We do compressions, we keep the body alive. The AEDs will shock the body back to life. The heart pumps 60, 65 beats a minute. When you go into sudden cardiac arrest, the electricity gets a little whacked, and your heart goes like this. I like to tell people it shakes like Jell-O. I never knew Jell-O was solid until I went to college at 18 years old. Why? We had 5 people in my house. My mother would make a box of 4 for all of us. I was an old timer before I realized that Jell-O can be cut in squares. My Jell-O was like this. That's what your heart does. It just goes totally out of rhythm.
Okay, I got 1 minute till 15.
An AED is a machine with a computer in it. It'll shock the heart back to life. You turn it on, and it tells you everything you need to do. It shows you how to use the pads that deliver the shock, okay? It'll tell you if the victim needs a shock, and it'll give the shock if necessary. It'll give you directions to keep everybody clear. Okay, how do you use it? Like we said, you turn it on, and you follow the verbal commands. Conclusion. Sudden cardiac arrest is just that. It's sudden. Call 911. Remember CAB, compression, airway, breathing. Use an AED if available. Our services, sales, service, and training. We do certification classes for heart saver CPR with choking, adults, children, and infants, non-medical people, and home health aides. We'll get the basic CPR. We talk about BLS, which is basic life support. Those are for EMTs, nurses, medical staff. That's working with the two-man in tandem. We do first aid. We'll talk about the EpiPen, how to splint, cut and burn management, and we'll combine that with any course. We do infant and child CPR for choking, hands-only CPR, and now we're starting to take up Stop the Bleed, and we have bleed kits. Stop the Bleed is very important. We teach you how to take it really bad. One more time, thank you. In conclusion, give us a call. Ira the CPR guy. We come 24/7.
I have a question. And give him a round of applause.
Any questions?
How long does it take to bring somebody back?
Well, there is no definitive answer for that. I'll tell you why. Remember Carrie Fisher? She was on an airplane, right? They couldn't bring her back because they didn't have the right equipment. However, there was a lady lacrosse player at the University of Michigan. She had a heart attack during the game, dropped dead on the field. They worked on her for 45 minutes. They brought her back.
45 minutes?
45 minutes.
Oh.
They brought her back.
Right away.
No damage. Right.
And
we
no
saw
damage.
on the Buffalo Bills guy, right? That was the perfect hit. He got hit right here, right in the middle of a heartbeat.
Right.
That's what sent him into cardiac arrest.
I heard they woke up my wife in a hospital for 45 minutes and didn't
Bring it back. So you never know. You can do 2 or 3 compressions, bring back the first time out of the defibrillator. You don't know. Up in New York, 3 of my students, one saved the guy. He was having a heart attack in his van, put him on the ground, brought him back. I think she worked on him for about 15 minutes before the EMTs came. He lived about a week and a half in the hospital. 2 other people actually did saves and brought the people back. Okay, everything works. Yes.
So that electrical one, when you have the electrical, the heart actually stops, or it does that flutter?
Does the flutter.
It does, even if it's the electrical one.
The electric one drug puts it in the flutter.
Gotcha.
And after 2 minutes or so, it stops. That's why they say 2 minutes you did.
How often does somebody need to take a class?
Every 2 years to be recertified. We do certifications for the American Heart Association, for the medical field, and for private and for living places like this. We use a card from the state health department in Florida that said we've done a 4-hour CPR training class, and we use that for regular people. For all the medical people, we use the American Heart Association, which is the standard.
I took the class 3 times, the corporations that I was an employee of, and they were a couple of years apart, and every one of them I found as if I didn't do it before, so renewal is important. But my question is, you mentioned, and I've heard it many times, about giving somebody like an aspirin. Are you aware of any evidence that giving them 2 aspirins like you might typically take for a headache be better than 1?
6 to 1.5 dozen the other. All you want to do is get that 1 aspirin so you can just thin the blood so it can flow. 1, 2, it doesn't. They just suggest the 1 because it's quick. 1, eat it, and you're good. Okay, my website, IraTheCPRguy.com, will tell you how to take care of yourself if you're having a heart attack alone in the car. Okay, so check the website. It's very informative. And thank you, everybody, for the opportunity.
One more quick thing.
Yes.
Just by a quick show of hands, because Ira asked me this a couple of weeks ago. If you're interested in having us do a little group presentation, who here would be interested in having us do one? Because he would give us a discounted rate from his 60. I think it was 40 per person. If we have like 5 or 6, then we'll schedule a time after the meeting maybe to do a certification. We'll have some people be renewed.
That's great. Yeah, we can do that to everybody.
Okay.
Okay. Any
Thanks,
other
Ira.
questions? Anybody else? Anybody need anything to throw at me? We're good. Thank you very much for your time.